This is the third podcast for EPFirms. This is March 6, 2021, and I'm Taylor Willingham. I am doing this podcast to help attorneys that want to run small practice be able to get it up off the ground. EPFirms is a software, is a CRM system that is automated that helps small law firms do everything. It is in development, it is growing, it is getting better each week. There is a ton of effort being put into it and a lot of great people and minds behind it to build it out so you can start your law practice, get it up, get it off the ground. It will market for you, do all the things it needs to do. Now, we're continuing on the trend. If you haven't been, I'm trying to keep a trend of what we are doing. And the first thing I decided to talk about is how to get a home run hitter if you're running a small practice. So if you're a new attorney, somebody out there, you want to get big hitters. Big hitters are what really get your life moving in the right direction. These are things that you can charge thousands of dollars to do. And I'm giving you the secret that I use, which is elder law planning. Elder law planning, which is helping people get long-term care without having to go buy long-term care insurance, which most people can't afford. So the idea here is, what do you do? How would you get a person now? We have an individual that's going to need long-term care but can't afford it. So how do we get him on Medicaid? What are the requirements? And how do we shelter as much assets as we can? And I'll go through those strategies over the next videos. But today I'm going to talk about the three main rules that if you understand these rules, it's going to catapult you to about 40% of understanding Medicaid law. These are the three major areas. Whenever I meet with somebody, the first three questions I'm going to ask. Is there a medical necessity for why your mom or dad need to be into a nursing home, or whoever it's going to be needs to be in a nursing home? So think that through. The reason why is, let's say you just give up on life and you're like, well, you have to be over 65. Medicaid, long-term care for people over 65. I give up on life. I'm going to go into a nursing home. So, and you just move in and you don't have to pay for anything. They're just going to feed you and do everything. Wonderful life, right? Nope, can't do that. You need a medical necessity to be in a facility. In other words, in the state of Texas, our rule is you need more than 48 hours a week of skilled nursing care. That is the rule for the state of Texas. It differs in every rule. There is a federal court opinion that says that there is no requirement for a skilled nursing care, but most doctors will say if you need care for more than 48 hours a week, then there is a medical necessity, so you usually can get in. The second rule, okay, that's an easy hurdle to get over. Okay, I see mom definitely needs care. What do we need to do? Is the income rule. Now, the income rule, there are tons and tons of income qualification. There are 13 states, I can't name them all off of my head. I know Texas is one of them, that requires if you're over the income limit, so you make more than, it's $2,300, I think it's $33 right now. I could be off on my number. But I say over $2,300. If you make more than that every month, the individual, then they are disqualified for Medicaid care unless they have a qualified income trust. Okay, that's the Miller Trust that you've heard about, qualified income trust. Big tip here, ding, 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 planning for somebody. Someone walks into your office, does estate planning there. They have Social Security over $2,300 a month. You are going to tell them you need a qualified income trust. We're going to put that in the side just in case you need it. Great planning tip that will be built into EPFirms when you enter their information in, when you enter the asset income information. It's going to see this person makes over $2,300 a month, or it's going to calculate their Social Security by how much they make right now will be over that amount. You need to do a qualified income trust. Now, that rule gets very complicated. I'm not going to get into the nuance of everything. You want to buy my book, I explain it in here. If you don't want to buy my book, go online, look up your state Medicaid manual and start to read through it. And it tells you all the rules of how they do everything. A great book in the state of Texas is there's an elder law book that's put out by Westlaw, I think it is. I don't know. Fantastically done. I'm sure your state has them. Every state has them. So whoever it is, find somebody in your state that's really good at elder law and talk to them. They can help you get to know the material that you would need. Third rule, So we got the income rule. It's a lot more complicated than just the limit amount. You need to know all the other nuances around it. The third rule is the asset rule. Okay, so you have income coming in, and now you have assets. Assets are things that you've already owned. You've had the income more than a month. You have the asset now. Now that we have these assets, you have countable assets and non-countable assets. And this is the big planning part. You need to know what the non-countable assets are in your state, because that's where you got to move the money to. Okay? The big one is a home up to a certain limit. I think it's $570,000, $75,000 in state tax right now. I could be wrong. That could be last year's. They change it every year, so I always fall behind on what it is. I just know if the house is getting over $550,000, I'm looking to see if what the amount is. 2, they can own one vehicle. You have a couple, they can own one vehicle. 3 is the asset amount of what they can. They can't have more than, an individual can't have more than $2,000 countable assets. So on the countable side, not that these things I'm talking about are non-countable. The countable side, you can't have more than $2,000 for an individual. A couple can have up to about $27,000, and then we have to do separate calculations, which is something I'll talk about a little bit later. Once again, this is not going to be an elder law course to teach you elder law. I mean, if you really wanted help and you want to talk about things, you could just comment or message, and I'll be more than willing to give you more information or do a special podcast on certain topics. But that gets very complicated when you have couples. You need to have books to be able to, and the charts to be able to go through and figure things out. The third thing that I want you to realize is almost in every state you can have a burial plot as long as it's not an irrevocable, like you can't get the money out of it. Fourth thing that you always want to look at is you got $1,500 in a life insurance policy. IRAs and 401ks are treated differently in the state of Texas. We have some great planning you can do that you can't do in other states. Those are not all the non-countable things and countable things. Non-countable assets also include household personal effects, but it doesn't include like gold and silver inside of a house. Those things would have to be counted. The key is you need to understand these 3 areas when you're doing elder law planning. Okay, you understand those 3 areas, and you start researching and get books that talk about it, get to understand the nuances of things, and then the big help that you can get is find an elder law attorney and associate with them and have them kind of coach you through, offer them to say, hey, I'll let you take my referrals right now. In return, I want to learn this practice of law. In any event, this is one idea that we're going to go through over the next kind of 10 podcasts. I'm going to give you basic kind of understandings, give you little treats. But the idea I want you to get you in your head. It works in every area of law. You have to offer value. I'm trying to show you, once you research, learn something, how much value you can offer people. You're an attorney. You can offer great value to people. My thing on here is you can save people millions of dollars. You can save they spent their whole life building something. And then, like my uncle, if you had his situation, he gets a brain tumor. They removed part of his brain, and now he's in a nursing home for the rest of his life. And his family was going to be completely impoverished. Lucky thing, his nephew understood this and saved every asset that he had left over. You can be that type of attorney for people where maybe it's criminal law and you just know your trade so well that you can actually defend your client. Find that passion, that thing that burns in you, and offer that home run hitter, and people will pay you for it. You're worth it. You're worth it if you can actually do it. This is the message today. Is we're going to go through. I gave you the 3 tips today. I'm going to continue this podcast. I'm hoping this gives you vision into things. I'm hoping if you are really good at something else and you know a home run hitter and you're willing to share it, let me know. Let's get on my podcast, and I want that information out there. So if you're an attorney watching this, I want more information. Get it out there. Let's rock and roll with this. Once again, I'm doing this not for charity. I'm doing this because I want you to get on EPFirms. Start using it as your CRM system. Let us build it. Let us build an automated system for you behind the scenes. We will listen to you. You email us. You ask us for, build this. Will you guys do this? We'll jump into it. At any event, This is our third podcast, and I'll keep going through. And I was trying to keep these to 5 minutes, but I don't think it's going to be possible. I just think I'm just going to keep going and going as depth as I need to get the information across. People don't want to watch it, they don't want to watch it.